Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh yeah, good idea. We don't have it's missing a thing. What joy to have such a full room with so many voices and hearts and bodies. It is good to be together today. Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. It is once again so good to be together on this weekend of civic action and resistance. On this first day, we can pause on that one. On this first day of the Christian Holy Week, on this springtime Sunday. My name is Nina Kuzniak, and I am a Unitarian Universalist seminarian working toward parish ministry. I serve as the Ministerial Intern for First UU and have the good fortune to occasionally preach at other Houston UU pulpits. Thank you so much for welcoming me here today. Today's service is called How to Tell the Truths, which is not what the front of your order of service says. The front of your order of service shows the title of the last sermon that I preached here, and I just want you to know I brought you new content, I promise. I hope you are each arriving today from a place of nourishment and groundedness, but truly, however you are today is okay. And as we're together, I hope that you will attend to the needs of your body and your soul. It's okay if you need to stand up or wiggle or shift around or even sleep during today's service. And I hope that no matter what, today you feel cared for. So in the light of love and under the watch of all ancestors and in the spirit of practice, let us worship.
And good morning. And I'm so excited because randomly I always get to work with Nina, so that's worked out really well. My name is Terry Grimm. I will be your worship associate this morning, and my pronouns are she, her. Claire and Tom Zimmerman, back for a visit, will light our chalice this morning. Today is Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. For Christians, it commemorates Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, marking the beginning of Holy Week. But at a metaphorical level, it is also a courageous act of nonviolent resistance, a challenge to oppressive power, showing us how to confront injustice with courage, humility, and love. Amanda Gorman, who's one of my favorite poets, inspires us toward this nonviolent action in her poem for Alex Jeffrey Pretty. We wake with no words, just woe and wound. Our own country shooting us in the back is not just brutality, it's jarring betrayal, not enforcement, but execution. A message, love your people and you will die. Yet our greatest threat isn't the outsiders among us, but those among us who never look within. Fear not those without papers, but those without conscience. Know that to care intensively united is to carry both pain, dark horror for today, and a profound daring hope for tomorrow. We can feel we have nothing to give and still be love. This world waiting, trembling to change. If we cannot find words, may we find the will. If we ever lose hope, may we never lose our humanity. The only undying thing is mercy, the courage to open ourselves like doors, hug our neighbor, and save one more bright, impossible life. Please stand as you are willing and able for our opening hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Our covenant calls on us to act out these ideas of courage, humility, and love. Please join me in saying our covenant in both English and Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is prayer. To seek together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant for one another. And Liz will read the Spanish.
Good morning. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. Los búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Vivir en paz en comunidad, buscar el conocimiento en libertad, servir a la comunidad en fraternidad, así es como pactamos entre nosotros.
The Universalist Reverend Forrest Church is quoted as saying, "We are not human because we think, we are human because we care. All true meaning is shared meaning." When we come together into this space of sacredness and connection, we experience bits of divinity in bodies that are buzzing with the joys and sorrows of being human. Our candle lighting ritual invites you to mark your joys and sorrows alongside others who do the same. Your grief and love, your joy and pain, they are welcome here. Before you join us, I'll ask Terry to light 2 candles. The first candle we light as a reminder that we gather in times of war. We hold the people of Palestine, of Sudan, Venezuela, Iran, and all those who suffer under colonial imperialism. We remember that their fight is our fight, and none are free until all are free. The second candle we light to remember the abiding reality of love and the shared work of the human community and the earth to wholeness and harmony and our capacity for restoration. This flame burns just as brightly and as strongly and as warmly as any other. May we be fortified together to do the work that is larger than any one of us can do alone. You are invited now to join our ritual. invite you now to feel yourself fully settle into this space. I'm going to lead you on a brief guided meditation, so I want you to find a place that works for your body, where you feel the most ease, and you can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Feel the chair holding your body, and imagine the earth holding you. Notice anywhere you may be holding tension. Send that place warmth and ease and tenderness. Breathe deeply once and feel the air rush in and flow out of you. And now allow your breaths to move in and out naturally, making them as deep as you need them to be right now. Imagine yourself on a path, one that feels comfortable and beautiful for you. Maybe it's a path through a densely wooded forest where you can feel the sunshine through gaps in the trees. Maybe it's a path along a river where water rushes over smooth, ancient stones. Maybe you walk a path in the desert, surrounded by craggy mountains and covered by a giant painted sky. You can make your way along this path by foot, by wheelchair, by bike. This path is so long, and sometimes it's so narrow that you're the only one who fits. Sometimes it's so wide you can't even see the edges of it. You are moving toward a place of love and peace that has been made ready for you. Along the path you nourish with food and drink, with play and pleasure. You rest when you're tired. You are moving toward a place of love and peace that has been made ready for you. You meet up with people along the way who are on the same path, sometimes moving faster than you, sometimes slower than you. When others join you on your sojourn, you plot together during the day and you gaze at the stars at night. Sometimes you wander without others, but you are never alone on your path. Plants, animals, fungus, microbes, rocks, and stars, they all witness you. They all move with you. You are moving toward a place of love and peace that has been made ready for you. After a lifetime of following the path, you arrive. You arrive to a place of love and peace that has been made ready just for you. Look around. What does this place feel like? Who is there with you? Who is coming to this place after you? And what will you do so that this place of love and peace is ready for them? Remember this feeling of belonging and duty. Remember this place of love and peace. Take another breath in. Open your eyes and return to our shared space. Feel free to remain seated for our meditation hymn today, which is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. The book for Time for All Ages today is called City's Secret. It is written by Naomi Shihab Nye and illustrated by Nancy Carpenter. Naomi Shihab Nye is a poet and a Palestinian American and a Texan. My grandmother lives on the other side of the earth. When I have daylight, she has night. When our sky grows dark, the sun is peeking through her window and brushing the bright lemons on her lemon tree. I think about this when I'm going to sleep. Your turn, I say. Between us are many miles of land and water. Between us are fish and cities and buses and fields and presidents and clotheslines and trucks and stop signs and signs that say do not enter, and grocery stores and benches and families and deserts and a million trees. Once I went to visit my grandmother. My grandmother and I do not speak the same language. We talked through my father as if he were a telephone, because he spoke both our languages and he could translate what we said. I called her Siti, which means grandma in Arabic, and she called me Habibi, which means darling. Her voice danced as high as the whistles of birds. Her voice giggled and whooshed like wind going around corners. She had 1,000 rivers in her voice. A few curls of dark hair peeked out of her scarf on one side, and a white curl peeked out on the other side, and I wanted her to take off the scarf so I could see if her hair was striped. Soon we had invented our own language together. Siti pointed at my stomach to ask if I was hungry. I pointed to the door to ask if she wanted to go outside. We walked to the fields to watch men picking lentils. We admired the sky with hums and claps. We crossed the road to buy milk from a family that kept one spotted cow. I called the cow Habibi, and it winked at me. We thanked the cow with whistles and clicks for the fresh milk that we carried home in Siti's little teapot. Every day I played with my cousins, Fauzi, Sami, Hani, and Hendia from next door. We played marbles together in their courtyard. Their marbles were blue and green and spun through the dust like planets. We didn't need words to play marbles. My grandmother lives on the other side of the earth. She eats cucumbers for breakfast with yogurt and bread. She bakes the big flat bread in a round old oven next to her house. A fire burns in the middle. She pats the dough between her hands and presses it out to bake on a black, flat rock in the center of the oven. My father says that she has been baking that bread for 100 years. My grandmother and I sat under her lemon tree in the afternoons drinking lemonade with mint in it. She liked me to pick bunches of mint for her. She liked to press her nose into the mint and sniff. Some days we stuffed little zucchini squash with rice for dinner. We sang Habibi, Habibi as we stacked them in a pan. We cracked almonds and ate apricots called mishmish while we worked. One day, Siti took off her scarf and shook out her hair. She washed her hair in a tub right there under the sun. Her hair surprised me by being very long, and it was striped. She said it got that way all by itself. I helped her brush it out while it dried. She braided it and pinned the braid up before putting on her scarf again. I felt as if I knew a secret. In the evenings, we climbed the stairs to the roof of Siti's house to look at the sky, to smell the air, and to take down the laundry. My grandmother likes to unpin the laundry in the evening so she can watch the women of the village walking back from the spring with jugs of water on their head. She used to do that too. My father said the women don't really need to get water from the spring anymore, but they like to. It is something from the old days that they don't want to forget. On the day my father and I had to leave, everyone cried, and even my father kept blowing his nose and walking outside. I cried hard when Siti held my head against her shoulder. My cousins gave me a sack of almonds to eat on the plane. Siti gave me a small purse that she had made. She stitched a picture of her lemon tree onto the purse with shiny thread. She popped the almonds into the purse and pulled the drawstrings tight. Our plane flew to the other side of the world. I remember the tattoos on my grandmother's hands. They look like birds flying away. My father says she has had those tattoos for 100 years. I think about Siti's old green trunk in the corner of her room. It has a padlock on it. She wears the key on a green ribbon around her neck. She keeps my grandfather's rings in there, and her gold thread and needles and pieces of folded up blue velvet from old dresses, and 2 small leather books, and a picture of my father before he came to the United States, and a picture of my parents on their wedding day, and a picture of me when I was a baby, smiling and very fat. Did I really look like that? When I got home, I wrote a letter to the President of the United States. Dear Mr. President, my grandmother on the other side of the world has a lemon tree that whispers secrets. She talks to it and gives it water from her own drinking glass. She guesses the branch where lemons will grow next. All the old men and women of her village take good care of their trees. Some have fig trees with shiny leaves. Some have almond trees covered with white blossoms that fall down in the road like snow. Last night, when I watched the news on TV, I felt worried. If the people of the United States could meet Siti, they'd like her, for sure, and you, Mr. President, would like her too. My grandmother can read the stars and the moon and the clouds. She can read dreams and tea leaves in the bottom of a cup. She even said that she could read good luck on my forehead. Mr. President, I wish you my good luck in your hard job. I vote for peace. My grandmother votes with me. Sincerely, Mona. Does my grandmother know what will happen in the world? Does the world have a forehead? Sometimes I think the world is a huge body tumbling in space, all curled up like a child sleeping. People are far apart, but connected. My grandmother lives on the other side of the earth, and while I am dreaming, she rises from her fluffy bed and steps out her door to check on the lemons growing on her tree. The first thing she does every day is say good morning to her lemons. All day, the leafy shadow of her tree will grow and change on her courtyard wall. She will move with its shade. While she sleeps, she will dream of me. The end.
Isla will be our keeper of the flame today. Please join me in saying, "Pass this flame from this freedom, from generation to generation." Thank you, Brian. That was very pretty. Our reading today is an excerpt from Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin. I love America more than any country in the world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. I think all theories are suspect, that the finest principles may have to be modified or maybe even pulverized by the demands of life, and that one must find, therefore, one's own moral center and move through the world, hoping that this center will guide one aright. I consider that I have many responsibilities, but none greater than this, to last, as Hemingway says, and get my work done.
I have managed to make it through more than 4 years of seminary, dozens of sermons, hundreds of pages of self-reflective and academic writing, more than 6 months of a ministerial internship, and multiple interviews with UU ministers. And somehow I have avoided ever really fully articulating my own theology. But the time has come for me to put to words what I actually believe. I assume it will be important to any congregation that I serve in the future. And plus, I am right now in a Unitarian Universalist theology course, and I have an assignment to write a theological autobiography. So anyway, it's time. And so far, the most helpful way for me to get these ideas out of my head and my heart and onto the page is to ask myself, what do I believe is true? Today, during the guided meditation, I invited you to envision a vast horizon of peace and love for all beings. We thought about what it looked like and what it felt like, who was there with you, and what needed doing so you could prepare it for the future. The vast horizon that I imagine is one of ease and peace, of true interconnection and belonging. It's a horizon of love and security, and it is for all beings. Now, for some people, this horizon is called heaven, a guarantee of something softer and kinder, accessible only through the doorway of death. I don't believe in that heaven. I think after we die, our bodies return to the carbon from which we came, a process in itself that I find incredibly mystical and humbling and purposeful. For me, as with many Unitarian Universalists, the potential of heaven and the work of making it so is always right here and now. Today's heaven, my chance to live in peace and with love alongside each of you. This has been nurtured through time by those long gone who dreamed of a horizon of love and peace for us. The many religious beliefs that comprise our world each have their own vast horizon. And I think really that mostly all of these vast horizons are places of peace and love. What distinguishes theologies of liberation from theologies of exclusion is who gets access to that place of peace and love. The future of peace and love that I believe can be real and to which I've dedicated my life is a place for all beings, human and otherwise, regardless of class or creed or breed or ancestry or health or wealth or raison. It's peace and love for all, no qualifiers, period, full stop. The idea of what we're building and of where we're going, that gives me a helpful framework for determining my truth. So when I'm considering what is true for me, I ask myself, is this widening or narrowing the pathway to peace and love for all? I had the very good fortune to travel to Palestine in January, on a delegation of witness and solidarity. We were comprised of about a dozen religious professionals, and we were organized by Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East, which is a coalition that was founded in 1971 and whose president is Dana Ashrawi, who actually lives in Houston. In the nearly 2 weeks that we spent there, I experienced Palestine with my full body, mind, and soul. I drank small cups of bitter coffee with women who were teaching their village basic CPR and first aid because ambulances often won't respond to Palestinian medical emergencies. I listened to stories of life under occupation told by people who said, "Please don't record me. What I'm telling you about my life would get me put in prison for terrorism." I smelled the piles of garbage that mounted within and around refugee camps, since many Palestinian neighborhoods are without services, including trash pickup. I touched the concrete and razor wire apartheid wall that separates families, but is covered in brave and beautiful graffiti that uplifts the fight for freedom. And I stood in sacred spaces, and I felt the sunlight streaming through panes of stained glass that had been shattered by gunfire. We were hosted by Catholic nuns in a beautiful old guest house across from the old city of Jerusalem. There was a glass-enclosed room on the property, and I spent the early dark mornings doing my daily breath work and gazing across the Kidron Valley at the walls of the old city. The Islamic call to prayer echoed alongside the roosters that were announcing daybreak, and I watched the sunrise splash light on some of the most sacred religious sites in the world. In one glance, from where I sat and breathed and welcomed the day, I saw the rooftop cross of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the site where Jesus Christ was crucified and buried. I saw the dome of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the site where Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad ascended into heaven. And I saw the flags waving near the Western Wall, the remaining Second Temple structure and sacred Jewish prayer site. This trip centered the Palestinian experience. We ate in Palestinian restaurants, and we learned from Palestinian scholars and activists, and we heard the firsthand accounts of life under occupation from Palestinians, many of whom came from families who lived on and tended the land for generations, just like Siti in our book today. We even traveled in and out of the country through Amman, Jordan, using the land crossing from Jordan into Palestine, as most Palestinians have to, as they do not have a passport and therefore cannot travel through the Tel Aviv airport. I journaled a lot while I was there, 57 pages, actually, scribbling learnings and questions throughout the day and heartfelt reflections at night. Before going to bed each night, I selected 5 photos from the day to send to friends and family back home with an audio message sharing my experiences. I didn't want to forget. I wanted to tell the truth of what I was experiencing. Everything was so beautiful, and everything was so horrifying. On our 4th day in Jerusalem, we met a man named Tarek, a Palestinian-born researcher and a computer engineer. While studying abroad in college, Tarek met Palestinians from the diaspora who told him about the villages and towns that their families fled during the Nakba in 1948, when the creation of the State of Israel displaced approximately 750,000 Palestinians. These folks would show Tarek photos of their villages and the homes that they left, and during his holidays, Tarek would return to Palestine, and he would visit those same villages, those same homes, and take photographs of what they look like today, and send them back to his friends. Many of the villages had been destroyed or depopulated, meaning that the residents were forcibly removed and the structures fell into disrepair. In other situations, Israeli families were granted or given Palestinian homes or land, being told that the Palestinian family had sold the home, abandoned it, or given it up, which was always a lie. Now, Tarek receives photos and stories from all over the world of Palestinians living in the diaspora who long for a connection to their ancestral homes and lands. He uses Google Maps and crowdsourced knowledge to provide photographs of what these grounds and structures look like today. And he has even escorted Palestinians born in the diaspora or living as refugees back to these places of significance to see them for themselves. One such story is of Kareem Said, a third-generation family member of the Palestinian-American scholar Edward Said. Kareem is an award-winning pianist who was invited to perform in Ramallah, which is another city in the West Bank. Before his trip to Palestine, he reached out to Tarek to see if they might be able to go see the Said family home, which was also lost during the Nakba. Using one single photograph from 1947, Tarek was able to find the home, and he brought Kareem there. It was occupied by an Israeli family who knew the storied history of the home well, including that it was built by the Saids and rented at various times by the Yugoslavian and Iranian consulates, and even the philosopher Martin Buber and his family. Before Kareem left for his concert in Ramallah, the Israeli man living in his family's home told him, "Your family lost this house to a warring state. You lost the ownership. I promise to take care of what used to be your family home, but it is our family home now." When I got home that night, I wrote in my journal, "How do we tell the truth?" If the purpose of our delegation was to witness the Palestinian experience and be in solidarity with their struggle, how could the truth that I experienced be used to inform, soften, and change hearts and minds, mine and others? Now, this is a theological question, because what we believe is true about the world shapes the way that we live and we love in it. It shapes what we fight for and what we build. It shapes what we leave behind when we go. Our Unitarian Universalist community is coalesced around a set of values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, and love. Before our recent bylaw change, we claimed a principle, a shared principle that stated, "We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning." Now, if you search for the word truth in the description of our values, you find it only in one place, nestled under pluralism, which names and covenants to celebrate our religious diversity. But truth, the search for it and how it changes our lives, it has more than just religious relevance. It impacts how we spend our money, how we cast our vote, where we place our empathy, who we build solidarity with, how we hold structures of power accountable. We are prescribed the truth, promised the truth, and told to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And yet, we experience the world and report back about it in and through bodies having incredibly subjective experiences. It seems in this we are holding a paradox. Everything will always be subjective and experienced through our personal lenses. And we are beholden to a standard of objective truth that is strong enough to support the inner workings and relationships of society. We need truths that are strong enough and shared enough to build our lives upon. I'm finding that in an attempt to answer my own question, how do we tell the truth? I'm generating more questions. If I believe this, who benefits from me believing this? If my beliefs are being challenged, who is benefiting from my self-doubt? In short, who benefits from this being the truth? In the horror of war that is unfolding in so many places, including Gaza and the West Bank, we are subject to false information offered to us as truth, which means that we are witnessing more than just battles for resources and power. We are a part of a battle over narratives and a battle over the historical record. The things that we are told, they feel like truths because they are produced or they're amplified by institutions and people that we think that we can trust. They're packaged as complete, irrefutable stories. They also accommodate or uphold our worldview, so we want them to be true. What is happening in the way that the world is talking about Palestine is so profound that a new word has been created to describe it. The word is alethicide. It combines the Greek word for truth and the Latin suffix to kill. Alethicide is the systematic and systemic destruction of truth. Coined by the Northwestern professor Mark Owens Jones, alethicide refers to a systematic strategy that not only erases truth around egregious acts of violence, but it also actively constructs false narratives that seek to reshape societal norms, manipulate public opinion, and dismantle solidarity movements that seek to end violence. Our politicians and our media sources are complicit in this process because systematically destroying the truth serves to uphold the current systems of power. The impact of alethicide, the destruction of truth, is greater than just telling a lie. It is the explicit and intentional act of creating and replicating falsehoods that are so evocative that they change public opinion, legislation, and the way that we write and remember history. One example of this is the Wall Street Journal publishing an article falsely claiming that 10% of United Nations staff supporting Palestinian refugees had links to Hamas. While this claim was untrue, it caused an instant freeze in $450 million of international funding to the relief agency responsible for feeding and sheltering Palestinian refugees. When I was in Palestine, I visited the Aida refugee camp, which was established in 1950 and houses at least 7,200 refugees in less than 1 square kilometer. I walked past kids playing wall ball and men sitting on the narrow streets drinking tea. It's where I found and bought this keffiyeh from a Palestinian artist. And I met an activist and a teacher who recently got married. And she pointed at her stomach when she said, "I was born in Aida, and my future child probably will be too." These are all people whose access to food and water and shelter depends on the UN Relief Agency. The claims that United Nations staff supported Hamas, they were investigated and they were found to be untrue. Yet public opinion was so successfully swayed by news reports that international funding never recovered, forcing the closure of health clinics, the limiting of water and electricity, and finally legislation passed by the Israeli parliament to restrict refugee support operations altogether. On January 21st, which was the day of this year that I returned home from my trip to Palestine, the Israeli authorities demolished the headquarters of the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Over 100,000 children alone are expected to suffer acute malnutrition by April of this year. The spreading of false narratives like this matter. Even after being publicly recanted, they are often amplified by people and places of power, and that, to our system, feels like a truth. And once that toothpaste is out of the tube, there is no putting it back in. The stories that become our truths are powerful. Today's truth becomes the foundation on which yesterday's knowledge systems, cultures, and realities reside. So now I will bring us back to my original theological quandary. To accept the world the way that it is, rife with violence propped up by lies of hierarchy and scarcity, we have to build a reality that legitimizes it. We must tell and repeat stories that support it. And we have to say, we believe this violent way of being together, that this is true. During my trip, the tragedy of oppression and settler colonialism was displayed and accessible to me. I saw the segregated roadways and the hundreds of checkpoints that impeded free movements for the Palestinians. I saw the rainwater collection tanks atop Palestinian homes that receive only rationed water and never enough. I sat in a Palestinian living room and had a conversation by candlelight after electricity was cut. I saw Palestinian homes demolished and land encroached upon by settlers. So what do I believe is true? I believe it's true that all people should have freedom of movement. I believe it's true that all people should have access to clean air and water and shelter. I believe it's true that all children should be fed and safe and educated, that all people deserve connection to their ancestral land and their heritage and their culture. And I believe it's true that I can only know the sacred in myself if I see the sacred in you and you and you and you and every single one of you. And believing these things are true widens the path toward my vast horizon of love and peace for all. The Reverend Paige Getty suggests that our right and responsibility to engage in the free and responsible quest for truth is an act of religious devotion. When we sing about or we pray to the Spirit of life, we are calling upon the bravery and boldness that makes good use of our words and our actions and our lives. It is time that we consider truth to be a relationship that we nurture with rigor and care. Let us listen to the truths being uttered by those with no power, by the art, by the soil, by the children, by the land. May we attend to the finding and the telling of our truths with the same care and devotion we tend to the things that we love the most. Friends, this is the seedbed in which we grow our future. May we sow it in the spirit of truth. May it be so.
Okay. Well, we have the opportunity to shape the kind of world we want to live in. Our shared abundance, whether financial gifts, time, or talent, sustains this community and ripples outward. What we give here supports the work we do together and the values we carry into the world. We invite you to give as generously as you are able, knowing that every contribution matters and is deeply appreciated. If you are visiting or are new to this congregation, your presence is gift enough. The offertory will now be taken. Please join me in blessing this offering. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. Okay, we've got several announcements, and some of them are late breaking. So we just got word in the office yesterday that the Clear Lake Islamic Center is having a session on proposed social studies, exclusionary, and Islamophobia curriculum today at 2:15. Ties in really well. So if anybody's able to make it, I know it's late news, but it'll be 2:15 at the Islamic Center today, and we're invited. So if you can go, make a showing. Some update on the No Kings March, because I know everybody was interested. First of all, thank you to everybody that participated in sign making and going to the rally and organizing and talking and all sorts of stuff. We counted 1,000 people at our rally, which is really good. A lot of people were first timers for the rally, and to add to that, we used 80 different posters at our sign making session, and I would say only about a quarter were from our church. So we had a lot of people come join us in sign making, so that's really good. The numbers I've heard, and I haven't seen them verified, they've only been on Facebook, sort of things, is that there were 3,600 rallies across the country, which is phenomenal. They said it was the largest protest in the U.S. They're estimating 9 million people across the country, and there were 22,000 in Houston. So, stay tuned to see on the exact numbers. And then I promised Liz that I would announce the garage sale, which we still need people for, and is a big fundraiser for our church. There's sheets out there to sign up for what you want to do. Everybody does something. Like I like doing checkout, and so just sign up for something you can do. It's a way to get to know people, to help with the church, and to participate in fundraising. So if you all, Liz had to leave early, but if you all rush out and sign up lots of sheets of paper, it'll make her very happy. Put them in the basket. Okay. Join us, now we're officially on the script, join us this Wednesday, April 1st, in Cockrell Hall at 7 o'clock after Vespers for Singo. So I understand it's a big hit. Yay. And, it's with music. You just match songs on your card as clips are played. No music knowledge is needed, and it's free to play. Ages 12 and up are welcome. Bring a friend and join the fun. So a fun thing to do after dinner and Vespers. Okay, this Thursday, April 2nd at 6:30 p.m., join Reverend Katie for Thursday service, sorry. This special Holy Week includes communion and foot washing, or you may simply attend and reflect. All are welcome. Youth in 6th grade are invited to a morning of meditation on Saturday, April 4th from 10 a.m. to noon. We'll explore watercolor meditation, a sound bath, and yoga nidra for relaxation. Bring a yoga mat if you have one. Snacks will be provided. Join us on Sunday, April 5th, so that's next Sunday, at 10 a.m. for our Easter brunch potluck. The RE ministry team will provide ham and eggs, so bring a dish to share and come celebrate together. After the service, children and youth are invited to an Easter egg hunt with games, photo opportunities. Bring a basket and join the fun. Today, join us in room 115 for Service and Justice, part of Discover BAUUC. Learn how our church makes a difference and how you can get involved. All are welcome. And finally, following the service, stay for coffee and fellowship in Cockrell Hall. It's a great time to connect, and everyone is welcome. And then ending, there's always more happening at the church, and we can't talk about it in all the announcements, but we can, if you're signed up for the weekly email, you'll be up to date. If you're new, scan the QR code to get connected and make sure you get all the latest email. Our closing song is number 1051, We Are. Please rise as you are willing and able.
It's nice to have a little interim to catch your breath. Some of these UU hymns are really long, so just take a couple seconds and breathe. I say this at the end of every one of my services. Thank you for welcoming me here today. I say it especially today. This is the third of 3 times officially in my internship that I will have been able to preach from your pulpit. And so since hopefully this is not goodbye forever, but this is in the context of my internship, the last time I'll be here. And I start my services by saying, I hope you feel loved, and I hope that you felt loved. And I really feel loved by the invitation to be here. So thank you so much. It's very important for us in formation. Thank you. As you leave this place, stay attuned to that which creates more possibilities for peace and love for all. Feel the support of this community as we strive to create heaven here, and call in the spirit of love as you tell the truth. Go in peace and power.